This is a NASDAQ market observation. This is not a signal. Today we are here on NASDAQ on a 5-minute time frame. And what makes this session interesting is that the market actually showed multiple shifts in behavior throughout the day. Because if you look at this chart quickly, it kind of looks like prices moving up and down inside of a range. But when you slow down and walk through the timeline, you can see how the market kept switching between expansion and rotation. So let's just look on the left side of the chart and follow how the session unfolded. If you start over here like around 01 moving into the 3 o'clock candle into the 4 o'clock candle, the market is gradually climbing, but notice the way that it's climbing. It's not an aggressive breakout, it's more so of a slow stair-step movement. A push higher, a small pullback, a push higher again. And that kind of behavior usually tells you that the market is building confidence gradually. The buyers are stepping in, but they're doing it in waves instead of one strong impulse. Now that's a sign that that's a sign that the market is still negotiating direction. Now, as we move into the 05 to 07 in the morning, you start to see something change. Price stops pushing higher and begins rotating lower. You start to see lower highs forming, momentum starts shifting, and by the time we reach around 7:30 to 8, sellers actually take control and drop the market lower. And this is the first clear expansion of the session, but it's to the downside. And that's important because the early bullish structure failed to continue. When a structure like that fails, the market usually looks for liquidity on the opposite side. Now, after we move lower, something interesting happens. Around 8:30 going into 9:30, which is the open, the market starts reacting higher again. You see rebounds. You see candles pushing back upward. But the structure, it still looks unstable. There's a lot of volatility here, which usually tells you that the market is still searching for balance after the move. And this becomes the setup for the next phase. Now, once we move into 10-11, the market starts building upward momentum again. You start to see higher lows forming. The price begins pushing higher with more confidence. And by the time we reach around noon until 1 o'clock, we get the cleanest upside expansion of the session. The candles stretch, momentum increases, and price starts traveling again. This is where the market stops negotiation and begins moving with intention. But then the behavior shifts again around 1:30 toward 1400, 2 o'clock. The market quickly reverses. You see a strong downside candle appear. And that move, it breaks that short-term bullish momentum. Even strong expansions can reverse once liquidity gets reached. After that drop, the market spends some time, stabilizing again. With that being said, 1500, 3 o'clock moving forward into the evening session, price begins to, it begins to rotate sideways again. You see smaller moves, rebounds, pullbacks, nothing too aggressive. This is the market transitioning back into balance after that earlier volatility. The strongest expansion already happened early in the day. Now the market is just trading inside, smaller ranges. Then as we move toward the late evening session, the market pushes higher toward the highs of the range, but notice something. Even though price is moving upward, the momentum isn't as aggressive as earlier expansions. It's more so of a gradual rotation, which tells us that the market is still operating inside of a range environment. With that being said, if there's one thing to take from today's session is this: markets rarely move in a straight line. They move in phases: negotiation, expansion, reaction, and then balance. On this chart, we saw that entire sequence play out. An early climb, a downside expansion, recovery, another upside expansion, and then, slower rotations later in the day. Instead of reacting to every candle, you can now watch how structure evolves over time. Same system, different day. This is Curated Currency.